Figurative hugs.
This is Chandler's very first Pride event, and we invited various organizations that provide support for the LGBT youth. It's very, very exciting for me to have been able to be a part of organizing an event like this one. I mean, I'm already thinking about the future and how to make this bigger and better. Chandler does not have a non-discrimination ordinance.
In the city of Chandler, it is not unlawful to discriminate against people that are LGBTQ.
There's been very little traction or pretty much no traction when it comes to providing protections on a federal level, and we have not been able to do it on a state level as well.
Every year I introduce a bill here in the Senate to expand non-discrimination protections for employment, housing, and public accommodation statewide. So we haven't been able to get that bill through the legislature. It's not something the majority party or the governor supports. So there's been an effort to have cities take the lead on this. Phoenix and Tempe passed theirs many, many years ago. And we've now seen cities like Mesa and Scottsdale and Glendale and Tucson and others pass their own city versions.
It's actually been very positive. One, many cities around the West Valley have been known as the Wild Wild West at times. So it's made people recognize Glendale as a more inclusive and more welcoming city. It lets people know when they put their head on their pillow at night, they can sleep a little easier knowing that they are protected.
They should be applauded for unanimously voting for an LGBTQ inclusive ordinance that just really says the city welcomes everyone.
To know that our ranking went from the low 70s to now mid 90s, in the HRC scoring, I think is remarkable.
A 66 is a D.
I think we are at a competitive disadvantage with other cities that already have the non-discrimination ordinance in place.
My wife and I don't come to the city of Chandler. Because Chandler has chosen not to have an ordinance, the mayor and council are pretty much saying that we're not valued in the city of Chandler. These actions, I think, unfortunately speak really loudly. Because the Chandler Council is choosing not to move forward with an inclusive ordinance.
It has become probably a little more contentious than we had hoped.
Oftentimes when I talk to the council members, they'll say, well, if you can bring me a case of actual discrimination, we can take a look at that. But often these are things that aren't reported. And folks are, scared to report them or feel like it won't make a difference.
All they have to do is go have some conversations with some high school students that are part of GSAs, and they're going to learn a whole lot about what happens and how unsafe it is and how frightening it is and how sad, most of all. This issue of a non-discrimination ordinance is important to me because I have a trans child. I remember when Jude was born, and those very first weeks and months, and looking and taking care of this human being who was completely dependent on me. It's an overwhelming emotional experience, and I knew, and that feeling is always there. I'm getting goosebumps, that I would always do everything that I could possibly do to protect that person.